Congratulations to the Michigan Panthers for being the second team to clinch a postseason berth in the United Football League. Yes, that's right. We are 7 weeks into the UFL season for 2024, and the Michigan Panthers have already got the second spot of the playoffs, meaning that the USFL conference is fully decided on the two teams that are making the playoffs. Now, while this team still is a race for the 1 seed, this team did make the playoffs, so let's go over the first thing about this team. The first thing is that they've done it with multiple different quarterbacks. They started with E.J. Perry as their quarterback to begin the season, but he was a bit faulty, but showed some of his promise, but ended up getting hurt with a season-ending injury. Then Danny Etling came in, and he filled in just fine. In fact, he's been the best quarterback this team has had all year. But coming into this week against the DC Defenders at Audi Field, he was hurt. So they had to rely on Bryce Perkins and Brian Lewerke, and they got the job done. Lewerke and Perkins both played, and both honestly looked pretty good. Even though Perkins ended up playing a bit more, had a bit more of everything, both guys still looked at least decent. Granted, Perkins was the better QB, and the fact is, it's given a lot of Panthers fans hope that even if Etling has to miss another game, that Perkins can fill in. Of course, it helps when you have Marcus Sims. Marcus Sims is one of the best receivers in the entire league, and you can make a case the best in the league. When you consider what he's done and the fact that basically every single week he has had at least one insanely deep reception, it just shows how incredible he really is. It doesn't matter what quarterback he has 421 yards in the league, which is among the league leaders, 200 yards after catch, 3 TDs, and 22 receptions. But of course, this team also has a great defense. Looking at their overall schedule, this team has only allowed more than 20 points one time, and that was against the Arlington Renegades in Week 6. Aside from that, they have never allowed more than 20. They've allowed 20 a couple times, but never more than that aside from that one game. Of course, it helps when you have guys like Kai Nakua, and while he is out for the year, maybe able to come back in the championship game, Frank Gidna and Nakua have both been insane. But of course, your defense has 3 separate guys with 3 or more sacks, but of course, Breland Speaks has been the guy for the pass rush. 5.5 sacks, 7 TFLs, both lead the team. Now, Nakua also leads the team in interceptions and the league itself at 3, and it helps make this team an insanely good unit. The defense has been an incredible unit, but of course, Jake Bates is the one we have to talk about. Jake Bates is the most famous player, arguably, in the entire UFL, somehow even above guys like A.J. McCarron and Adrian Martinez because of just how incredible he's been. Of course, his fame started with that 64-yard field goal to end the game against the Battlehawks. And of course, he had that insane game against the Renegades, where he made a total of 7 kicks that technically counted, but because of penalties, 7 that are considered good, but only 5 of them counted because of penalties that were accepted, where he still made a 60-yarder that did count and went 5 for 5, including another walk-off. Even though he did miss a couple kicks against the Showboats, he has overall been an insane player to the point where, unironically, he is in the MVP conversation. In fact, 7 weeks into the season, the MVP race is basically just down to Adrian Martinez and Jake Bates. A lot of people actually believe that whoever gets the 1 seed, whether it's the Stallions or Panthers, will determine who gets MVP. Especially because Bates has been a huge reason why the Panthers have won multiple games. This past week against the Defenders, he made multiple great kicks as well in that one. So the fact is that if he has a walk-off, especially in Week 10 against the Stallions, don't be shocked if a kicker wins MVP. These are all the reasons why the Panthers made the playoffs. This is a really fun team, and the fact is they've never really gotten beat in any game they lost. Yes, they did get kind of beat by the Brahmas, but even then they only lost by 10. This team is a very good team overall and definitely deserves to make the playoffs. They're still in the race for the 1 seed. We'll see if we get it. Congratulations to the Michigan Panthers for making the UFL playoffs.
Bottom. We're going to playoffs. Yeah!